solid road trip. Giovanni Gallardo and the Brew Crew welcome you back to Miller Park here in Milwaukee. They open up a 9-game homestand against the Central Division leading Pittsburgh Pirates. Giovanni Gallardo goes for his third consecutive win, and he'll be opposing Andrew McCutchen in the Pirates. McCutchen only 1 for 22 on this current road trip, yet the Pirates are on top of the division. Hi, everybody. Alongside Davey Nelson, I'm Craig Kashan. Great to have you with us. We're getting closer to first pitch in Game 1 of our series between the Pirates and the Brewers. But how about the Pittsburgh Pirates? This is the first matchup between these two teams this year. They're riding the top of the division. They have outstanding pitching right now. However, the Brewers have had their number overall since 2008. Kind of a mystique going on there.
Yeah, you know what? And the Pirates are tired of that mystique. You know, they feel, talking with Clint Hurdle and a couple of their players, A.J. Burnett, Jason Grilli, they say that, look, we've got a good team. We're tired of them dominating us. They want to come into this ballpark where they've been dominated to show that the team that they have, it can win, that this is not a fluke. They're psyched up about this series here.
And that big number there, the Brewers 59 wins against Pittsburgh since that 2008 season. Want to start this season series out with a win here tonight, and they'll give the ball to Giovanni Gallardo. He has won 2 in a row. Can he start the homestand off with his third consecutive win? Big homestand about to start as we welcome you back to Miller Park next. Your home improvement needs at Menards. By Miller Lite, it's not just a good time, it's Miller time. By Toyota, let's go places. And by AT&T UVerse TV. Check availability at 1-800, pick ATT. Rethink possible. Special night in the broadcast booth. Let's send it up to Brian Anderson.
All right, thanks a lot, Craig. And indeed, we have a couple out of the bullpen here today, Craig Counsell and Jerry Augustine. And before we get started, I want to send out our condolences. Bill Schroeder will not be with us the next 2 days. His mother, Jenny Samozik, his mother-in-law, passed away, and the funeral is tomorrow in Minneapolis. So we go to Craig Counsell from Baseball Ops, Jerry Augustine from Brewers Live. And Craig, you were with the Brewers on the last road trip. We are now almost a month through the season, and with all of these injuries, it has been pretty impressive how the Brewers have been able to hang in there.
They've really rebounded. I think two guys at the bottom of the lineup, Betancourt and Gomez, have produced big time again on this road trip. Betancourt not even with the team till the last couple days of spring training. And then with the pitching, I think the length that the starting pitchers have started to provide, pitching into the 7th inning, has really allowed the bullpen to kind of settle into their roles, and they've been really good the last 2 weeks also.
Well, Augie, great way to start a homestand with your ace on the mound in Gallardo.
Yeah, when you look at this homestand, you start off the first 7 games. It's played within the division. And what do you want to do? You want to play very well in your division. Best way to do, start off with your ace, Yovani Gallardo.
So Gallardo trying to make it 3 straight victories. He won his last time here at Miller Park, and he'll match up against the red-hot Pirates, the first place Pittsburgh Pirates, coming off a series win against the St. Louis Cardinals. Brewers baseball coming your way. First pitch, the Brewers and the Pirates, live from Miller Park right after this. Starts tonight at Miller Park. First up, the Pittsburgh Pirates for 3, then the Cardinals, then the Texas Rangers. A key early season homestand for the Brewers as Ryan Braun and the crew take to the field. And there is the Pirates manager, Clint Hurdle, now in his 3rd season as the skipper of the Pirates. And he has this organization turned in the right way. They're in first place to start play today. His Piggly Wiggly batting order, Starling Marte leads off, Russell Martin and Andrew McCutchen. Middle of the order for Hurdle is Garrett Jones, Gabby Sanchez, and Pedro Alvarez, with Brandon Inge, Clint Barmas, and Wandy Rodriguez rounding it out. And let's check the defense behind Gallardo tonight for the Brew Crew. Brought to you by Menards, Braun, Gomez, and Aoki. Betancourt, Segura, Weeks, and Maldonado go around the horn, and Lucroy does the catching. And Yovani Gallardo on the mound, Jerry Augustine, and he is hoping to make it 3 straight wins for the Brewers.
Yes, he is, and I'll tell you what, he's had 2 consecutive starts. The one thing you look for Yovani early is, does he have that good rhythm? Does he have that good command? And that all starts with his breaking ball.
This is a much improved Pittsburgh ball club, and the Pirates are coming off 3 consecutive series wins, Craig, that are very impressive at this stage of the season. They swept the Braves, and then one series from the Phillies and the Cardinals on the road.
A little bit like the Brewers. Got off to a slow first week, and they've really turned it on. They're playing well, find themselves top of the Central Division.
Yeah, both of these teams started 1-5 for the year. As Starling Marte takes a ball inside. Augie, see anything from Gallardo over his last 5 starts?
Well, I'll tell you, it seems like he's starting to find a good rhythm. It's all about that starting that mechanism, that timing mechanism that he needs to get his arm in a good position to throw strikes and come over the top and use that good breaking ball. Seems like the last few outings he's starting to get that timing and has thrown the ball much better.
Starling Marte sitting on an 8-game hitting streak to start play today. This is one of the rising young stars in the big leagues. And he's been tough to deal with in first innings this year. Starling Marte in the first inning as the Pirates leadoff hitter is batting .619 this season, 13 for 21. And in his last 7 games, he is 5 for 6 plus a walk, and now add another walk to it, and a very fast base runner aboard against Gallardo. Well, the Brewers go 3-3 on the road trip. Took 2 out of 3 from San Diego and then dropped 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers. And Craig, yesterday Clayton Kershaw was impressive, and you wonder if that has any carryover effect after a 12 strikeout performance yesterday.
They ran into a buzzsaw yesterday. I think the guys will be happy Clayton Kershaw is not on the mound today. He was good, like he is often.
Well, there is a lefty on the mound, and Wandy Rodriguez, but not the kind of left-hander the Brewers saw yesterday as Russell Martin takes a strike. There's been a lot of talk about Gallardo, and Craig, certainly you know as well as anyone working in the baseball operations department, but is it concerning to you at all that his fastball velocity has been down? Do you feel like maybe that is league-wide? I mean, statistically, fastball velocity is down. Anything particular that you see with him?
I think fastball velocity, it's going to fluctuate start to start for all these pitchers. We saw Willie Peralta Saturday night in L.A. throwing very hard, much harder than the previous start. So it's going to change. These guys go out there. They're not 100% every time they go out there. I think Yo is in a situation where he's facing a team he has success against, and that, as much as anything, is a positive sign.
Yeah, and when you're talking about Giovanni, it's all about finding that little. He talks about rhythm, but it's actually a starting mechanism to get that arm in good shape. When he does, I think you'll see the velocity start to rise. It seems like the last outing he started getting the velocity going up in that 91, 92, a little bit more consistently.
And you love his mechanics, right, Augie? I mean, he's a guy who, I remember when Rick Peterson was the pitching coach, he said he'd never seen anybody grade out like Gallardo mechanically, and that's served him well over these years.
He does, and you know, most thing with pitchers, and we talked yesterday about Kershaw. Kershaw was having a lot of problems with his breaking ball. It has to do usually with not so much your mechanics, but more a timing mechanism, so you can get your arm in a good position to throw the ball to the plate, and that's what it is for Yo.
Russell Martin takes one low.
Hitters walk away from Giovanni Gallardo saying he throws straight downhill. It feels like he's throwing the ball from 10 feet high and straight down, and it just makes it more difficult to make consistent contact. And when he's good, he's got that good plane on his fastball.
He's been a big strikeout pitcher for the Brewers. A pitch out, nothing on there. Pittsburgh likes to run, and specifically with McCutchen and Marte. Marte is 7 for 9 in stolen bases. He's actually tied for first in the National League with steals with the Brewers' Gene Segura and Everth Cabrera of the Padres. And with a guy who's been getting on like Marte has, the running game is a big part of what the Pirates want to do. Clint Hurdle, former Rockies manager and a former Sports Illustrated cover boy. He was on the cover as a player, as a member of the Kansas City Royals back in the day. There goes Marte, and a soft liner that's going to sneak through. It gets by Weeks. On his way to third goes Marte, and it's going to be first and third for the Pirates as Russell Martin continues his hitting ways. I'm not sure if Weeks just didn't see that ball or was covering and couldn't recover.
I almost think he got kind of shielded by Gallardo as he was covering the base and didn't really get a good look at the ball off the bat.
So now Gallardo in early trouble here. First and third, nobody out with McCutchen coming up. McCutchen has not been swinging the bat well at all, and I think, Augie, that's what's so impressive about the Pirates. When they went in the tank last year toward the end of the season, it was primarily because their best hitter was in the tank, Andrew McCutchen. Those slumps coincided with each other. But as McCutchen has scuffled at the plate, this team has continued to win.
Yeah, there's no question. It just, you know, you look at this lineup, it's a balanced lineup. There's no one doing anything extra special. They're just, everybody's chipping in. And when you get up and down that lineup, you get that consistency with doing the little things, moving runners over. First, you got to get on base and moving the runners over, then you get them in. I'll tell you, that leads to something special. And that's exactly what the Pirates have been doing, especially since that 1-in-5 start.
This is a franchise-type player, though. So I think the Pirates finally got that guy that can stick in the middle of their lineup and know he's their guy. He's going to produce for them, and he is a superstar in this game.
Had a monster year last year, won the Gold Glove last season and the Silver Slugger Award, and he bounces one to short. Segura to second for one. No chance to turn two. And a hard slide at second base by Martin. A run scores. The Pirates on the board first tonight. Fielder's choice and an RBI for Andrew McCutchen, and it's 1-0 Pittsburgh. There's a lot of guys that turns into 2 outs, but not this particular player.
Right there, Giovanni got a little fastball out on the outside part of the plate. McCutchen was trying to go the other way. It seemed like it came around the ball, hit a ground ball to short, and was able to get the force out at second.
So 1-0, a runner at first, McCutchen for Garrett Jones. Jones is off to a nice start. Big power hitter at the plate. He's hitting .324 to start the year. Has a couple of home runs and 13 driven in. Hit a home run yesterday in that win over the Cardinals. A home run that went to a review yesterday. Pirates went banging away against St. Louis, taking 2 out of 3 from the Redbirds. I think the Pirates got a lot of confidence when they welcomed in the red-hot Atlanta Braves 2 series ago and swept Atlanta. Atlanta's been maintaining one of the best records in the National League, and Pittsburgh took care of business 3 straight days, sweeping Atlanta, and then they turned it into a series win in Philadelphia on the road, and then they won again on the road in St. Louis. McCutchen takes off. Bouncing ball. Weeks is over. He's got it. And a long throw is just in time to get Jones. Weeks knew he had time there, and that is out number 2.
Excellent job just taking his time. Ball hit to his backhand, and he knew he had time. And like you said, Brian, the big thing is not play too fast. Take your time. Set his feet and made a nice throw just to get him.
Now 2 gone for Gallardo. And McCutchen having to leapfrog that bouncing ball. Dropping a little Clint Hurdle on us. You get that? He hurdled the ground ball.
Nice.
And their manager's name is Clint Hurdle. I know you guys are new at this, but I just want to make sure we're all on the same page here.
Jones would have preferred that ball hit him.
Yes. A knock.
Base hit for Garrett Jones.
And I'm sure the Brewers would have rather have eliminated McCutchen from the base paths. Here's Gabby Sanchez with 2 away. The well-traveled Gabby Sanchez. This is a guy I thought, Craig, when he was with the Marlins, he looked like he was going to be a world beater with Miami. And things went south quickly for him.
He had a couple of very good seasons. His first 2 seasons in the big leagues, excellent. I believe he was an all-star, and fell on just a tough year in 2011, and then ended up being traded to Pittsburgh last year. And but he finds himself as getting some regular playing time at first base here in Pittsburgh.
I was an all-star with the Marlins in 2011, and was very odd last season. You might remember he was here with the Miami Marlins, and he hit what proved to be a game-winning home run for the Marlins off John Axford. here at Miller Park, and then he was released the next day, or sent to the minor leagues the next day. Bounces one to Segura, and the inning is over. So Gallardo, a walk and a hit, surrenders the first inning run. The Brewers coming to bat for the first time. Here tonight, Ron Roenicke and the Brewers back off a 6-game road trip, going 3-3 through San Diego and Los Angeles. And here is Roenicke's Piggly Wiggly batting order. Aoki leads off. He'll be followed by Segura, then Braun. Middle of the order, Lucroy still hits cleanup. Ricky Weeks, and then Carlos Gomez. And the bottom three, Betancourt, Maldonado, and Gallardo rounding it out. And let's set the defense for the Pirates, courtesy of Menards. Very good, athletic outfield here in Marte and McCutchen. Garrett Jones is in right. The infield of Alvarez, Vargas, Injun Sanchez, with Martin doing the catching. And Augie, it is Wandy Rodriguez, a different kind of left-hander today than what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, he's a type of guy, a typical left-hand pitcher, likes to sink the ball. He's got a good fastball, throws in the low to mid-90s, a great breaking ball and a changeup. The one thing he will do, he'll try to get ahead of you with that fastball, and then he'll use that breaking ball to get you out.
Now, Rodriguez has had some great moments against the Brewers, most of those coming as a member of the Astros, and he's had some not so great moments as well. And certainly, Craig, the Brewers have plenty of book on this left-hander. He's been in the division a long time.
Yeah, it's been feast or famine, it seems like. Just going back to remembering a couple years ago, it was 8 solid innings, or we got him out early in the game. So let's make it one of those nights.
His career numbers against Milwaukee pretty good. He has an 8-9 record, but an ERA of 3.80. And how about this? It covers 24 career games, 23 of those starts. A familiar pitcher on the mound for most of these Brewer players.
You know, the one thing about Rodriguez, early in the game, like what he likes to do is he really likes to establish that fastball. If he could establish that fastball, it just goes into everything else that he does. Likes to get that fastball over it, let you know he'll throw it in all parts of the plate, and then use that breaking ball.
Well, a good start for the Crew as Aoki draws the walk. He's been doing a lot of that lately. Seems like Aoki's facing a left-hander just about every day. And that is a leadoff walk for Jean Segura. Well, Segura continues to be quite the story for the Brew Crew. He missed a game in Los Angeles with a cracked fingernail. He missed one start, but came back yesterday. Actually had a hit, one of 4 hits against Clayton Kershaw in yesterday's game. Segura hitting .349. Does have a home run, which came here at Miller Park. 6 runs batted in. Pirates saw a little bit of him last year late in the season.
And it's been great just to see how fast Jean Segura has transitioned to the big leagues. It was really 1 month of transition, and he's been hitting ever since. And it's not that easy. He's making big league pitching look look pretty easy.
That ball's hit pretty well to center field. McCutchen near the wall, looking up, and there she goes. Jean Segura with his second home run of the season. And the Brewers, just like that, before there is an out, taking a 2-1 lead as that ball was hammered to center.
Yeah, right there, Wandy Rodriguez had a 1-0 pitch, tried to sneak a fastball, got a ball up over the plate. And one thing that Jean Segura has done, you get that ball in the middle of the plate, up over the plate, he's going to put a good swing on it, and that's exactly what he did right there.
Powerball home run number 2 for Jean Segura.
Well, he's trying to establish the fastball, like Augie said, and Jean is an aggressive hitter, and he took advantage of it. Both homers to dead center for Jean, which is a good sign, too. It shows you he's got legit power.
And as a guy who went over the center field fence a lot in your career,
a guy who had non-legit power.
You can respect a shortstop who goes over the center field wall. Now here's Ryan Braun, a walk and a homer. And Braun goes down the right field line. Look how deep Jones is playing. Braun on his way to second, and he's in with a double. Jones, who was practically standing on the warning track, cuts that ball off. Otherwise, Braun may be looking at a triple here. Well, the Brewers have come out swinging the bats against Wandy Rodriguez.
Yeah, we talked earlier. He's trying to establish that fastball, went down and away, tried to throw the ball a little bit off the plate, down and away. And one thing Ryan Braun does very well, he covers the plate very well, hits the ball where it was pitched, drives it in the right field for the double.
That might be my favorite Ryan Braun swing of the season. You start seeing swings like that, that little short swing where he takes the ball the other way, that's when we know we're getting a locked-in Ryan Braun.
You see his hits by direction this year. He's had his hits to right field. A number of his home runs have come to right field. Well, a good sign early for the Brewers. A home run by Segura. Braun goes to the opposite field. And now Jonathan Lucroy. I would imagine that anybody other than Kershaw looks pretty good today, especially a left-handed pitcher. Rodriguez, like Kershaw, features that big curveball, but nothing like curveball with the style of that pitch and the velocity that he throws it.
Yeah, yesterday with Kershaw, it just looked like after he got through that first 2 innings when the Brewers had opportunities to score, that it just seemed like his fastball had a little bit more life. It seems like now he's throwing that what they call the 4-seam riding fastball and a little bit of a sinking fastball. And yesterday he was electric. He was throwing the ball all over and throwing strikes.
I think guys like Kershaw, Rodriguez, you get chances early in the game against them. It's very big to take advantage of those chances. They had a chance yesterday in the first inning against Kershaw, didn't come through. Today, getting runs early against Rodriguez just puts him on the defense right away.
Well, the Brewers have had so much success against the Pirates, and that even goes back to your playing career, Craig, when the Brewers just seemed like, at least at this ballpark, they just owned Pittsburgh. That wasn't always the case through the mid-2000s, but the Brewers against the Pirates here at Miller Park, going back to the 2007 season, 44-7 against Pittsburgh. And last year, the Brewers won 11 out of 15 against the Pirates overall. There's something about this matchup, at least for now, and the Brewers are hoping it stays that way as Rodriguez is really scuffling out of the gates here today. Second walk of the inning.
You know, and when you're a lot of times when you're a breaking ball pitcher, it seems like early in the game you have to find something that you start establishing that breaking ball. You feel comfortable with it. We see it with Yo sometimes in that first inning. Doesn't have that good feel, can't get the breaking ball over for strikes. And same thing it goes for Wandy Rodriguez. I think anytime you see a good breaking ball pitcher early in the ball game, they're sometimes coming in there trying to get that feel. And if you can take advantage of them, that is huge. And that's exactly what's happening with Wandy Rodriguez tonight.
So 2 men aboard now for Ricky Weeks. 2 walks, a home run, a double. Still nobody out. And Weeks, who has been hitting in the 5-hole recently. Renicky taking Weeks out of the cleanup spot in the batting order. The Brewers getting very little production out of the cleanup spot. They are anxiously awaiting the return of Aramis Ramirez, who should be back on this homestand. We might see him in the final game of the series or the first game of the Cardinal series, perhaps. He's close to returning, not there yet. Snap throw, and Lucroy is out. And Lucroy saying he never tagged him. First base umpire Scott Berry rings him up, and Roenicke's on his way. Now Lucroy just got caught too far off the bag, and Martin able to steal an out for Wandy Rodriguez here in this first inning.
Well, Lucroy's trying to get an aggressive lead here so he can break up the double play, but just gets caught a little bit too far off, and Martin with a good throw. Little phantom tag there. But you can see.
Yeah, it did look like he tagged the base as opposed to the arm, but the throw certainly beat him. Berry was behind that play. The base is definitely out. I'm not sure Lucroy is.
He got the base. He got the base.
Well, an unforced base running error for the Brewers. So the first out, 2-1 to Weeks, and now it's 2-2.
There's the good breaking ball from Rodriguez. That curveball, we got to see it above the strike zone. I got to start above the strike zone to finish up in the strike zone. And as a hitter, that's kind of what you're looking for. You're looking for it to start above the strike zone.
Comes back with a fastball at 90 miles an hour. Now, Rodriguez has been a guy who he's used that big curveball, and he doesn't have an overpowering fastball, but he gets a lot of strikeouts with a high fastball.
Now, the one thing he'll do, he uses his zones well. We always talk about pitchers. We always talk about pitchers pitching both in and out, but it's really become big in baseball in the last several years. If you can command down and up in the strike zone, it's really important. And you're seeing a lot of pitchers have success by doing that, not only pitching in and out, but being able to elevate that ball in the upper part of that strike zone.
Well, Clint Hurdle is going to send out for a visit here. Ray Searage, the former Brewer. A quick chat with Wandy Rodriguez, and this inning has a little light at the end of the tunnel for Wandy Rodriguez because of the pickoff at first base. Well, a reminder, residents of Milwaukee, Ozaki, Racine, Washington, and Waukesha counties, you can purchase half-price tickets to the Brewers games versus the Pirates and the Cardinals. You can purchase those today through Friday. Some restrictions apply. Save 50% on tickets at brewers.com/5county. Take advantage of it. 7-game homestand. Pirates for 3, Cardinals for 4. And then the Rangers come in for 2 more. And a total of a 9-game homestand. So here is Carlos Gomez now with 2 on. And he bites on the first one. Off-speed pitch from Rodriguez.
Curveball from Rodriguez, and again, that's the one Rodriguez wants you to swing at. That one that just finishes up below the strike zone. Really tough to make good contact on that ball.
Gomez takes one inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, Augie Gomez had a terrific road trip. He just continues not only to hit, but to come up with multiple hits per game.
Yeah, he was 9 for 20 on the road trip. He had 450. So swung the bat really well on the road trip.
Seems like this winning streak the Brewers are on. They won 9 in a row. And although they have lost 3 of their last 4, this is a ball club that seems to be paralleling what Carlos Gomez has done as his streak has gone offensively. The Brewers have played very well offensively, and he's been one of the guys that have picked up the slack in the absence of Corey Hart and Aramis Ramirez.
Since the Brewers streak, the 10-3 streak that they're on, Gomez is, he's won a National League Player of the Week. He had another great road trip. So he really, this bottom of the order has been a big key in just getting some of the offensive loss of Ramirez, back on track.
And Craig, you really have to be impressed and be with how his approach at the plate. You talk about a lot of different things with Carlos Gomez, but it just seems like he has taken a good approach where he's a lot more patient at the plate and seeing the ball, not be worrying about going and getting the ball, but let the ball come to him a little bit more.
It's just that you're seeing a maturation of a hitter. This is how I think hitters normally mature in the big leagues. And he's
draws a walk.
We see it kind of nightly in him making progress.
Well, this is a tough spot for Rodriguez. And you know Hurdle is sitting in that dugout right now in the first inning, knowing a ground ball double play gets him out of this inning. But Rodriguez has walked 4. He's given up 2 hits. He has not retired a batter at the plate. 17 pitches out of the strike zone of the 26 he has thrown in this first inning.
Good
now
patience.
Uni Betancourt.
Good patience by the Brewer hitters.
2 runs are in. The 2-run homer by Segura. All of this has started after the home run, and the bases were clean. And there's strike 1 to Betancourt. This is one of the guys you mentioned in the open, Craig, is part of the big reason the Brewers have been able to cover some of that production. Betancourt is currently second on the club in RBIs behind Braun. Driven in 17. Seems like a much more patient hitter in Uni B version 2 for the Milwaukee Brewers.
He's not going to walk. We're not going to see a lot of walks from Uni, but he is a more patient version of himself. And I think it's led to him being successful in RBI situations.
Oh, got a chance for 2. It's bobbled by Barmes, and his only play is first. They get the out at first. And the Brewers very fortunate. This inning continues as Braun scores the 3rd run. And the Pirates sitting there with a golden opportunity to escape a nightmare first inning. And the normally sure-handed Clint Barmes.
Well, tailor-made double play ball right here, hit sharply, and just Clint Barmes, normally a very good shortstop, just had a little trouble with him, got the out, but the Brewers will take it with another run.
Well, they get the out. Betancourt will be credited with the RBI. 3 runs in here in the first inning. Martin Maldonado, the 8th batter of the inning. Well, this is a spot here that a base hit can do some serious psychological damage, not to mention what goes on the scoreboard.
You know, and as a pitcher too, you're struggling this inning. You've walked several guys, and I think the one thing you want to do is you just want to get out of this inning so you can get back in that dugout and collect yourself a little bit. Sometimes you get out there, you get that start, you start speeding the game up rather than trying to slow it down and make your pitches.
Martin Maldonado had a home run in Los Angeles Saturday night. It was a big one, a 2-run home run that extended the Brewers' lead. They would need every one of those runs Saturday night, the only game the Crew won in that 3-game series. His first home run of the season, Maldonado. I was wondering, with a base open at first, how aggressive Rodriguez would be with Maldonado, but you got a pretty good hitting pitcher standing on deck in Gallardo.
Giovanni is a dangerous hitter, and I think that's what gets Maldonado pitched to this at bat. With a weaker hitting pitcher, you walk Maldonado and let the pitcher hit, but Gallardo's enough of a threat that they're going to try to get Maldonado here.
Gallardo does have a home run this season. Matter of fact, he homered in his last start at Miller Park. Second and third, 2 outs, and the 1-2 is a breaking ball into right center, and that is down, a base hit. 2 more runs will score. Maldonado comes up with a big one early, and the Brewers putting up a 5 spot in the first inning tonight.
You know, sometimes you make that decision, like Craig was just talking with Giovanni, that makes you change things. But right there, he was ahead of him. He tried to throw that breaking ball, got the ball up in the zone, and Maldonado did a nice job of just staying inside that ball, driving it into right center for a base hit, 2 RBIs.
Good 2-strike approach. That's that breaking ball up we were talking about.
5 runs in. The Brewers scored 5 in an inning in San Diego in the first inning. Matter of fact, they did it twice in that series against the Padres, and what a start offensively.
This is a pitcher's favorite at bat, and at bat in the first inning.
with 5 in.
That means you got some runs on the board.
Surprised, Augie, nobody warming up in the Pirates bullpen?
Well, it is surprising, especially in a game like this, and when you come in, you're playing in a place where the Pirates have over their history had been a tough place to play. So kind of interesting to see what Clint Hurdle's doing here. But he knows he's got Wandy Rodriguez out there, and if he can fight through that first inning, hopefully he'll settle down.
Gallardo, big swing. 2 balls and a strike. Brewers have batted around here in the first. And we'll see how this game goes. You never know. We're so early, but that Maldonado base hit could be a big one. Not to mention the Barmes misplay. Doesn't show up as an error in the scorebook, but the fact that he had a double play to get the Pirates out of this inning with just 2 runs allowed could play huge the rest of the way with Gallardo on the mound. Pirates have been a very good defensive team this year as a group. There's a strike called inside corner. Rodriguez strikes out Gallardo, and that is that. What an inning. Get Augie and Craig Counsell in the booth, and the Brewers go crazy in the first. A 5-spot, 5-1 as we head to inning number 2.
One lead, kind of like a Marquette Golden Eagle fast break. How about Marquette basketball going to the Elite 8 this season after 2 straight appearances in the Sweet 16? Marquette with another successful campaign, coached by this gentleman right here, Buzz Williams, who threw out the first pitch tonight here at Miller Park. And Coach, great to see you. Since March Madness, what have you been up to? Recruiting like crazy? What's been going on?
Yeah, the recruiting period ended yesterday, and I was gone every day that we were eligible to be gone. In some ways, I'm glad recruiting's over. This is the first time I've seen my family for a full day in a long time.
It's great to be home. 2 Sweet 16s followed by an Elite 8. You're setting the bar high, spoiling those Marquette fans, but that's the goal, right?
Yeah, we need to try to play a little bit better and see if we can get to the next round, maybe 2 more rounds. Very fortunate to have coached the players that we've coached with the assistants that have been on staff. It's been a lot of fun.
Talk about this first pitch tonight. You hummed it right in there for a strike.
Well, just right out of the pitcher's gate, went straight to the fastball.
That was the fastball. That was the call. Well, seemed to work.
I wasn't quite loose yet, but it was approaching that. It was probably more like a changeup.
And the whole team was right behind you. All your guys, were they giving you some grief or what?
Yeah, they didn't think that I could get it across the plate at all.
Once again, guys, the coach was right. The coach is always right. Turn around, show everybody your custom-made Brewer jersey. How about this, guys? Buzz Williams, number 13.
He's not afraid of the unlucky 13. I don't blame him. And whenever I hear Buzz Williams talk, that reminds me of home. Everybody talk like that where I'm from. He's from East Texas, and Buzz has done a great job at Marquette, and we are glad to have him here at Miller Park. A great run for the Golden Eagles last year. Now we'll see how Gallardo handles the 5-run first inning by his offense. He's back at it for inning number 2. Did give up a run in the first. Pedro Alvarez leads off, followed by Brandon Inge and then Clint Barmas. 5-1, a busy first inning here at Miller Park tonight.
Augie, this is a good feeling for a pitcher going out with a big lead like this in the second inning.
Well, anytime you have a lot of runs, I think it's good. If 5 is not enough sometimes. But, it does help you. It helps you relax a little bit. But you still have to be focused on your game. And with Yo, it's just about finding that good comfort zone for him and getting ahead of hitters.
Bouncing ball over to Maldonado. He'll take it himself. And one gone here in the second inning. Now the Brewers have had a revolving door at first base so far this year. They've used Maldonado, Blake Lally, Alex Gonzalez. Originally it was supposed to be Corey Hart and then Matt Gamble. Those two with knee injuries. Gamble's out for the season. Uni Betancourt has played a little first base as an infielder counts. What does that mean to have a different guy over there just about every day? Anything?
It's really just been mix and match, and guys are kind of taking their turns and based on a matchup. Maldonado's got the job today, but all the guys I think have played well defensively. Betancourt and Gonzalez especially, just proving once again that shortstops can play anywhere.
Wow, that didn't take long from the former shortstop. Well, Carlos Gomez is looking for a little time at shortstop. I notice he takes ground balls there every batting practice. Everybody wants to be the shortstop. See, I'm without Bill Schroeder tonight, so there's nobody to get into the catching discussion, Augie, and I know you have no interest in the tools of brilliance.
Well, I counted on catchers. I'll tell you what, in my career, if I didn't have that guy behind the plate who could at least put down the right numbers, that caused a lot of problems. But I'll tell you what, when you look at this Brewer ball club and the guys that have played at first base, you have to be happy. Not just that they go and they play there, but the way they have played there, made some great plays. Craig, did you ever play first?
I played.
There's a base hit by Brandon Inge. A 1-out single. Hold that thought, Counts. I got to sell something here. And tonight's Tavern of the Game winner, normally Rock would do this, is the Lakeside Bar in Stevens Point. If the Tavern contact calls the Milwaukee Brewers in the next 24 hours at 414-902-4572, Lakeside Bar will receive 40 Miller Lite beer pin tickets to a 2013 Brewers home game. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin
and Miller Lite.
Attaboy. So tomorrow, that's yours.
I got it. Rock does it better. I'll try to live up to his standard.
Yes, he does. That's his thing.
I think Rock knows it by heart.
Oh, he doesn't need a card. He's usually been in all of those establishments. Runner at first for Barmas. Barmas up there with one away. I would imagine still seething a little bit. Speaking of shortstops, unable to turn the double play that would have gotten the Pirates out of the inning with only 2 runs in the first. Barmas played for Hurdle in Colorado. He was his shortstop prior to the arrival of Troy Tulowitzki. It was Tulowitzki who came to the big leagues in 2007 and essentially won that job. He was the opening day shortstop that year in his rookie year, Tulowitzki, and that moved Barmas over to second base. But Hurdle has always felt like he is an everyday shortstop in the big leagues, and they are reunited in Pittsburgh once again as of last year. So Barmas draws a walk, and Gallardo in trouble once again. Well, this does not feel like a night for the pitcher so far.
Yeah, it just looks like he just can't find that comfort zone. You know, he talks so much about that rhythm that he has to have, but talking about rhythm, we talk about timing, we talk about getting the arm in a good position to throw, and if that is off by just a little bit, you just can't find that strike zone where you want. It just looks like right now that he was just a little bit jumpy to the plate, the arms dragging a little bit, and he just can't get control of his good fastball.
Gallardo has issued 2 walks. He's allowed 2 hits. And he'll face the pitcher, Wandy Rodriguez. 1 for 9 at the plate is Rodriguez this season. Looks like he's up there to try to advance the runners with a bunt. Rodriguez now in his second year with Pittsburgh. He was traded from the Astros to the Pirates last season. Starting a full season with the Pirates this year. And he lays off, and it's a ball and a strike. Pirates have a pretty good rotation put together. A.J. Burnett is their ace. Jeff Locke has emerged as a good-looking young talent. James McDonald, the other in that rotation. They have removed Jonathan Sanchez from the rotation. There's strike 2 for Gallardo.
Now the Clint Hurdle has a decision if he's going to keep the bunt on with 2 strikes here.
Now the Brewers expecting the bunt. The corners are in. It's bunted firmly enough. A chance to maybe turn 2 here. He's not bunting, and he swings and misses. So Gallardo strikes out Rodriguez, unable to get the bunt down. And there is out number 2, and the runners stay put.
It was interesting to watch that sequence right there. Yo, after got through, was up in the strike zone a little bit, stayed back after he got ahead there, and really came with a pretty good pitch down in a way that was tough for Rodriguez to handle. But in that sequence, it was fun to watch the Brewers' defense. First, it seemed like the first 2 plays, the first 2 strikes, they had the wheel on. Right then, the last play, they just stayed at home because they didn't know exactly what Rodriguez was going to do.
Top of the order, Marte, strike 1 on the Pirates leadoff hitter, who led off with a walk in the first inning. He scored the Pirates run. Two on, 2 out. Brewers with a 5 spot in the first inning as Marte slices 1 foul. A lot of scouts raving about this kid right here, Craig. He is some kind of talent.
This is a very talented player, and it's another player that Pirates are adding to that core that they've had with McCutchen and Neil Walker. This is kind of the next guy that they brought up towards the end of last year, and he's going to be a good player, a young player you can build around.
Somebody told me earlier today that he is a young Andrew McCutchen with a stronger arm, which is hard to believe. Little half swing. Did he go? Lucroy blocks, and no, says first base umpire Scott Berry. Not making any friends in that Brewers first base dugout today. Able to check it, as you see. Ready for a 1-2 from Gallardo. Just missed. Marte doesn't bite. And it didn't miss by much. So many hitters talk about that fastball of Gallardo, thinking it's going to go down in the zone, stay as a ball. That one did. Gallardo gets a lot of strikeouts there. Here's Betancourt. Nice play. Goes the easy way to end the inning. Brewers behind Gallardo put up a 0 after getting 5 in the bottom of the first. first rewind. We take you through a busy first inning. It started with a Gene Segura 2-run home run. That put the Brewers on the board quickly. It was a pickoff at first base, and the Pirates are sitting there with a chance to get out of the inning with just 2 runs. Farmas kicked it, able to get the out, but the inning was extended. A run scored, and then Maldonado on a 1-2 pitch and 2 outs in the inning drove in 2 more runs, capping off a 5-run first inning. 9 batters came to the plate in the inning. Wandy Rodriguez walks 4 in the frame and gives up 3 hits. A lot going on in that first inning, Craig, for a guy who typically doesn't walk a lot of batters.
Just 3 walks in 21 innings coming into the game. So 4 walks in the first inning shows good discipline by the Brewer hitters.
Nori Aoki, he had one of those 4 walks. He starts it again here in the second. Well, the Brewers hoping to keep the pressure on here. A little slap ground ball to third. Alvarez has a cannon, and he guns down Aoki for out number 1. I don't know if Alvarez is ever going to think about a move to the mound. He's a pretty qualified major league third baseman, but if he ever did, I would love to see what he'd throw from the mound. That's got to be a mid-90s fastball, right, Augie?
Oh, I would think so. I tell you, anytime he can get his hands on the ball, get the glove on the ball, most often he's going to get sort of out. You watch the ball go across that infield. It throws the ball with pretty good velocity.
1 gone for Segura. Segura now hitting .357. Currently 4th in the league in hitting to start the day. And he jumps over Michael Young with that base hit. Chris Johnson, the former Astro, former Diamondback, is leading the league in hitting. And the 2 guys the Diamondbacks trade to the Braves are at the top of 2 big leaderboards. Johnson in batting average, Justin Upton leading the NL in home runs with 12. Ahead of Segura, Chris Johnson and Bryce Harper, who comes in batting .360 today. So many bright young stars in the game right now, and Segura, you got to start putting him in that category. It's only been a month, but this kid looks like the real deal. That one's lined right to Inge at second base for out number 2.
One thing with Segura, you have to be impressed the way his approach at the plate right there. You got to break them all up, try to stay inside the ball. Like Craig talked earlier about having a good 2-strike approach and inside out that ball and get a line drive at the second baseman.
Time for our lows never stop improving. Ryan Braun, his last 22. Take a look at these numbers here for Braun. A .425 batting average. These are the last 22 at Miller Park against the Pirates. 9 homers, 24 runs batted into those 22 games. He's been a big part of why the Brewers have had so much success against the Pirates here. And of course, one of Braun's iconic home runs in his 7-year big league career came against Pittsburgh in 2008 when he had a grand slam in extra innings. Well, counts. There you go. That's his second hit to right. You called it after his first one. That's the kind of swing that may look like Braun is ready to bust out in a big way.
I talked to him in batting practice today, and he was just back spinning the ball to right field, and I just made a comment to him. I said, that's the best BP I've seen in a while. And today we see 2 base hits to right field. I think that's when we know Ryan Braun's getting locked in.
And it's hard to look at a guy who's hitting .257, 7 homers, 21 RBIs. He's among league leaders in homers and RBIs, and say he hasn't been locked in. But the batting average is nowhere near what Braun has established as career numbers for batting average. He's been striking out a lot as well.
There's no question. He's set the bar so high for himself. We expect so much out of him. But he's a great player, and we know we're going to get it. And it's a matter of time with him. I don't think we can worry about. I know we don't have to worry about Ryan Braun hitting. It's going to happen.
It doesn't feel like a .257 batting average. I mean, Braun has had some big hits. He's made his hits count this year. He comes into play today, 4th in the league in RBIs. Brandon Phillips of the Reds leads the league with 24. Braun has 21. So it's been a hard 257. How about we say it that way? Lucroy with 2 outs. He's quickly down 0-2. And he gets jammed. A pop up. Inge back in the grass. He's got it for the out. And Rodriguez answers a 5-run first with a scoreless second. Brewers lead at 5-1, a 5-run first inning. Brian Anderson with Craig Counsell and Jerry Augustine. Bill Schroeder is not with us for the next 2 days, attending to the funeral of his mother-in-law. And guys, we put a question to you. Carsoup.com, email the booth question. Trish in Elkhorn wants to know, Jerry or Craig, was there a team that you have dominated or had great success against in the past? Anything come to mind, Augie?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It was the
We're going to let you brag here a little bit.
It was New York Yankees, believe it or not. When you talk about going out there, they had a lot of left-hand hitters, and it just seemed like I got my first one in the big leagues against the New York Yankees. So it just carried on from there, and always pitched well, whether it be here in Milwaukee or in New York. Had a lot of fun against that team.
Augie liked the bright lights.
But he did the big city bright lights, and Jerry Augustine, the Wisconsin native. How about you, Counts? Any particular teams, maybe particular pitchers that you matched up against?
Well, I think it's a lot of times it's the pitchers, but I always love going to Atlanta, even when they had the Maddox, Glavine, Smoltz trio. I loved playing there. They were great teams. There was always atmosphere in the park, and seemed to have some pretty good games against those guys.
Russell Martin bounces one over to third. Long throw by Betancourt, and it's in time for the out. And Yovani Gallardo with one away. Our head and shoulders whiff. Yovani Gallardo, he's a guy that's been racking up the strikeouts his entire career. And he has pushed over the 200 strikeout plateau a number of times. And July 15th of last season, Gallardo, big strikeout performance against the Pittsburgh Pirates, and he has had some success against the Pirates throughout his career. By the way, got a little contest going concerning the head and shoulders whiff. You can go to the Brewers Twitter page at Brewers, or their Twitter handle, and hashtag whiff. So each month the MLB club who racks up the most whiff tweets. I think we totally lost Jerry here, but stick with me, Augie. So the most whiff tweets at club will earn a $10,000 donation from Head and Shoulders for their local RBI league. There's a lot of Twitter activity going on concerning Head and Shoulders. Cutchin bounces one to short, and 2 quick outs for Gallardo.
And you were right. You lost me. You know what's so special about Yo? You know, you're talking about the strikeouts and all the games that he had with strikeouts, but you know, he's got that unique ability that he can go out there, not have his good stuff, not have that good breaking ball, and still be able to pitch with his fastball. And that's a pretty special, because he's got that ability to change speeds at times.
And I think he fights through the first couple innings, finding that rhythm, and then he settles into a rhythm. It happened last start in San Diego, and it's happened this inning right here. He's had a real good rhythm, and let's hope he continues it.
Yeah, Gallardo against the Padres scuffled early, didn't look like himself, but he ends up, his final line was 6 2/3, and he picked up the win, gave up just 3 earned runs. But unusual for Gallardo to walk 5 batters, which is what he did against the Padres. Had only 2 strikeouts. But Giovanni has won back-to-back games. He's 2-1 coming into this start here, start number 6. And looking for his first 3 up, 3 down inning here in the 3rd. Gallardo is 9-2 against the Pirates lifetime, and an ERA of 2.59 against this club throughout his career. That covers 15 games. Hit hard, but right between the legs of Maldonado. Got a chance to throw. He is off the mark. Headed toward the Pittsburgh dugout. Jones is on his way to second. And there is some of that inexperience at first base showing up here as the inning is extended on the Maldonado error.
Well, a hot shot to Maldonado and not able to handle it, but then he compounds the mistake by trying to make a great play after he'd already made a mistake.
You know,
so here's where the mistake is. You understand missing the ball, but here's the mistake, trying to get an out there when there's not an out anymore.
I think the one thing you do in that play, when you make the play, the ball gets by you, you try to rush yourself a little bit. And sorry about that, Craig, but it looked like that's just what he just did right there.
So a runner at second with 2 gone. We're taking a look at Maldonado. And again, the Brewers have a revolving door at first base.
I think it just handcuffed him. It looks like he got a pretty good hop. It just handcuffed him a little bit.
Now Maldonado is eager to learn the position. As Gabby Sanchez to left field, that is going to fall, and the error is going to lead to a run. So Sanchez with an RBI double, and the Pirates cash in on a Brewers mistake. And it's 5-2 Milwaukee. Didn't sound like he hit it all that well. It sounded a little bit like it was off the end of the bat.
You know, right here, Yohet was behind 1-0, tried to come with a breaking ball, just left it up in the zone a little bit, and Gabby Sanchez went out, hooked it in the left field for the base for the double and run scoring RBI.
So Jones scoring from second, and it's 5-2 now, and that brings up Pedro Alvarez. You would know it by his overall numbers this season. His batting average is at 195 currently, but he's actually been a pretty hot hitter. He has 10 hits in his last 7 games and has driven in 6 runs in his last 7 games.
He's a very streaky hitter. He's always been that guy that can look really bad in the bat and come back and hit a towering 450-foot home run.
Now, he is a regular visitor into the Allegheny River in Pittsburgh, which is beyond the right field wall there at PNC Park. 0-2 pitch, and Alvarez doesn't chase the high fastball.
This is where getting ahead of a hitter gives the pitcher so many options. So he uses that high fastball, the last pitch, to set up this pitch.
See what Gallardo has in mind here. The 1-2 fastball, swing and a miss. So Gallardo strikes out Alvarez to end the inning. An error leads to a run, and it's 5-2 Crew.
Park, the Brewers lead the Pirates 5-2. The Brewers starting a 3-game series against the Pirates, and hard to believe we are already almost 1 month into the season, and some teams have come on strong, some are slow starters, and so tonight we are asking Brewers fans on our AT&T Twitter poll, which team has been the biggest surprise in April? You can tweet us at our handle, at FSWisconsin. Is it the Pirates, who are sitting first in the NL Central, the Royals, the leaders in the AL Central, the Diamondbacks in the NL West, or the Braves in the NL East? Brian?
All right, Sophia, thanks. We'll play along. What do you guys got? Who's your early sleeper?
I got the Kansas City Royals.
Nice.
For sure. I think the big trade with James Shields, added Irvin Santana, they really solidified their starting pitching, and they have a core that's very similar to the Brewers core back in 07-08.
And interesting that they are managed by the man who managed that team 07 and 08, Ned Yost. And they thought they were going to be a contender last year. The Brewers went to Kansas City. All the billboards were up. It's our time, but it wasn't their time. And time may be running out on that crew in Kansas City. So they're hoping for big things this year.
You got to like what they've done, though. They know what they had to do. They needed some pitchers. They needed that one guy, and they went and got Shields, and that's really solidified their pitching, especially their starting pitching. It's made them a better ball club.
Yeah, they gave up a great prospect in Myers. Now the Brewers scored 5 in the first. Rodriguez came back, put up a 0 in the second inning. Ricky Weeks leading off here for the Brew Crew. Well, the American League Central a little upside down, although the Tigers have gotten on a nice little winning run here lately, and they are at 13-10. Detroit looks very good. Kansas City 13-9. I think most feel the Tigers are the class of that division, making it to the World Series last year. Detroit has won 3 in a row. Took down the Red Hot Braves recently as well. And then in the NL Central, the Pittsburgh Pirates at the top, as Sophia mentioned. They are 15-10, coming off a series win against the Cardinals. Cincinnati's been limping out of the gates a little bit to start the season. A team that has a great pool of talent to draw from. Very competitive division in the National League Central. Got the Diamondbacks and the Rockies at the top of the NL West, almost a month into the season. As Weeks chases the high fastball, and down he goes on strikes, and there's your high fastball, Augie, to go along with that curveball he throws.
Yeah, he changes eye levels. What he does, he keeps the ball down. He gets ahead of him, and then he can go to that high fastball right at the top of the strike zone. For a lot of hitters especially, it's hard to lay off when you can get right up top after you show him that good fastball down or good breaking ball down.
Second strikeout for Wandy Rodriguez. And here's Carlos Gomez with one away.
When we talk about that hitter looking for the breaking ball up, he's kind of looking, that's fastball's coming out of that same spot that good breaking ball to hit is coming out of. And that your eyes see, so your eyes might see breaking ball there, and you swing, and it's a fastball, and it's out of the strike zone.
It's really turned into a good pitch, changing that eye level any way you want to, but you see pitchers use it a lot more, because if you can get to that upper part of that strike zone, like Craig just talked about, it looking like a breaking ball, you think you can attack it. As soon as you go to attack it, that fastball gets on you a little bit and gets by you, and it makes it a tough pitch to hit.
Gomez, slow roller over to third. Alvarez winds it up, guns Gomez down for out number 2. And so much of pitching is the complementary pitches, the pitching in pairs, the curveball that Rodriguez has with a high fastball, maybe a sinker with a cutter, and it's all about deception. And for a hitter, it puts a hitter in such a tough spot when a guy has command of those complementary pitches.
Yeah, and especially as a pitcher, if you can duplicate pitches, it's all about being able to command that strike zone and being able to duplicate pitches in certain spots. That is really effective. But what baseball does today, you not only have to learn about pitching in and out, you have to change speeds and you have to elevate the ball a little bit as well as pitch down in strike zone.
There's a strike to Betancourt. I've always been interested to know and ask individual hitters where they put their eyes prior to that pitch. You know, where you focus your eyes as the ball is let go. I remember Ted Williams would always say he'd look at the logo on the cap and then just shift his eyes over to the release point.
I think it's I've always taught a soft focus kind of on where the ball is going to be coming from. So you're not staring at it, but you kind of have a soft focus on that area.
You know, Craig, you talk about pitching, and as a pitcher, we try to elevate and go in and out, and change speeds, all this stuff. But as a hitter, is there certain pitchers that you look at different spots? You know, with the release of the ball, of course, you got guys that throw for different slots. The majority of them throw at that 3/4. But on certain pitchers that you face, do you look at different spots?
I think so, for sure. You're looking at locations at the plate for sure. I think a lot of hitters will split the plate in half, look for the outer half of the plate or the inner half of the plate, and try to cover one half of the plate.
Little tapper out in front of the plate. Martin spins and fires, and a terrific play by Russell Martin to get Uni Betancourt. And that is a 1-2-3 inning for Rodriguez. 5-2 Brewers. Milwaukee Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. By Ho Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, your ticket to more. And by Marshfield Clinic. Don't just live, shine. Milwaukee on a Monday night, and it is finally starting to feel like spring around here. Brewers off to a good start tonight. First game of this 9-game homestand. They lead 5-2. All 5 of those runs coming in the first inning. Gallardo has given up 2 runs, 1 earned. And facing Brandon Inge to start this inning. The new Pirate just returned to the active roster last week. Inge was a part of the Oakland A's organization last year. Actually was injured toward the end of the season after he was let go by the Tigers. But he was a big part of Oakland's resurgence last season. And now he's found a home here in Pittsburgh.
Always a very good defensive player. And he kind of bounced around after Detroit, but made the club out of spring training.
Now Hurdle is always looking for clubhouse presence, and Brandon Inge certainly brings that. He and Clint Barmas. And that's something that's been missing a little bit from the Pirates situation as he sends that one deep to left. It's got some travel to it, but Braun with room makes the catch for the first out for Gallardo. Now, fans, you collect your favorite Brewers to the 2013 All-Star team. Vote early, vote often, vote Brewers now through July 4th at Brewers.com. And now's the part of the broadcast, Craig, where we ask you to hold that up for everybody. Just stand there until we get a shot and smile.
Looks good on Craig.
Yeah. Just keep holding it up till we say you're done.
All right, I got it.
Actually, when Rock holds them up, we just like to do it like this.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that way.
Much better.
That way, it just, you know, it's not a distraction. Keep holding it. No, you can let it go. He was going to hold it, wasn't it, Augie? He was just smiling away, just
having fun with the guy on his first day.
That's nice. Nice to turn the tables on Craig Counsell. Barmas sends one to left. Braun's right there for out number 2. Are you enjoying your first few innings here as a major league broadcaster?
It's the butterflies is what I love. You get the butterflies again.
You were nervous?
Well, yeah, it's like your first day of playing a big league game. It's the first day of a big league broadcast, so you get those butterflies, and that's what you miss about playing is those those good butterflies. So to get those butterflies again is a great thing.
All right, I like that. That to me means you care. It's very good. Did you get butterflies when you went through your first scouting job, or when Doug Melvin asked you to go give an opinion on a particular player?
When you have to give your opinion, you do get butterflies.
Everybody's staring at you in the room.
That's right. It's you gotta kind of this is my guy, or this is not my guy, and this is what I think, and it's that's a tough part of the job.
2 gone. Rodriguez, slow roller out to short, and this will be Gallardo's best inning. 3 up and 3 down. Craig Counsell, Jerry Augustine filling in for Rock tonight. Brewers lead 5-2. (5-2) Brewers lead the Pirates as we head to the bottom of the 4th, and a reminder that the Brewers Community Involvement Initiative, known as the Community Achievers Award, will recognize residents throughout the state of Wisconsin each month during the season for displaying extraordinary efforts in their community. All adults and school-age children throughout the state of Wisconsin are eligible to participate in the Community Achievers Award program. Well, we head to the Brewer half of inning number 4. Martin Maldonado will lead off for Milwaukee. Maldonado had a key hit in this game, and if the Brewers go on to win this ball game. I think that's one of the big moments in the game, and it happened in the first inning.
They took advantage of Clint Barma's mistake on a ground ball, and Maldonado, great piece of two-strike hitting, got a breaking ball up and served it to the opposite field.
Drove in 2 runs with that base hit to right. Yeah, there was a lot of things at play there, Augie, and you were wondering whether Hurdle would choose to pitch around Maldonado. He had the pitcher coming up next. He got him to 2 strikes, a base open at first. There was a meeting at the mound. They went after him, and Maldonado made him pay.
Well, you know, we talk about Yovani Gallardo and what a good hitter he is, but Russell Martin even went to the mound to check it out to see if they wanted to pitch him. What pitch did you want to do? It just seemed like that time Rodriguez wanted to throw that breaking ball, got it up in the zone, and Martin did a nice job.
Well, that's the difference between a 3-run first and a 5-run first, and certainly makes a huge difference. Maldonado did commit an error a moment ago back in the 3rd inning, which eventually led to a run, but playing out of position.
So this is something that we talk about, Augie. Is it the pitch selection that was wrong, or was it the execution of the pitch that was wrong?
I think it's the execution of pitch. You know, you look up, you know what you want to pitch, and the one thing that Rodriguez was doing in that first inning, he was kind of feeling for himself, and I think the breaking ball was a good pitch to throw there, but where do you want to throw it? You want to throw it down in the dirt. And I think what he did there is he overthrew it a little bit. The ball was up a little bit, and Maldonado did a nice job of hitting the ball the other way.
2-2 the count on Maldonado, and he asked for time and is granted. Maldonado with 2 errors on that same play defensively. Oh, a nice flag by Rodriguez. He is a good fielding pitcher, and perhaps taking a hit away from Maldonado there for out number 1. Take a look at our charter high-speed pitch tonight. Gallardo with a good fastball. Wandy Rodriguez topping out at 91. Gallardo, who throughout his career, Augie, has been in the 93, 94 mile an hour range, but he's consistently been in the low 90s this year.
I think as the summer goes along and he gets his delivery down a little bit better, I think, like Craig said, I think at times your velocity is going to be at the lower, but as the season goes on and gets a little comfort zone, I think you'll see his velocity climb. You know, we were talking about making that pitch. Craig brought up a great point. What was it? Was it the pitch? It was totally had to be the location on that pitch that he made to Maldonado. You see, he came back that time with the same breaker ball, got it down in the zone, and he hit the ball back right at him. So it has to do a lot with not so much the pitch, but the location where you put it.
I always say on sports, when you watch the highlights, do you see home runs?
Gallardo, speaking of home runs, sends that one deep to left field, and he's gone! Yovani Gallardo with his 2nd home run of the season. Bernie takes the slide. The Brewers have a 6-2 lead, and now you start to see the other half of Clint Hurdle's decision-making in that first inning.
That's the threat that Yovani provides, and that's what got Maldonado pitches to hit in the at-bat in the first inning, is the threat that Yovani provides, and he shows it right there with the home run.
Home run number 2, RBI number 3. Gallardo has homered in each of his last 2 starts at Miller Park. His 12th career home run, which is a franchise record.
A changeup. So Rodriguez has kind of abandoned the changeup this year, but that pitch, a changeup to Gallardo, and he was all over it.
Got the ball up in the zone, and we talk about what is the pitch. If you get the ball up in the zone, you allow yourself to get hit hard. And that time, especially with a changeup, you want to make sure that pitch is down. And that pitch was up where Yovani could handle it and go the ball out of the ballpark.
And Aoki sends one deep to right. That ball's got a chance, and that one is gone. Aoki-san with a home run, his 3rd of the year. 7-2 Brewers. And the 3rd home run of the night for the Crew. All smiles smiles in that Brewers dugout. Back-to-back home runs from the pitcher and the leadoff hitter.
Right here, he tried to throw a breaker ball. We talked about the location of pitches. Tried to throw that breaker ball, get it down in the zone, hung the ball up over the plate. And the one thing that Norrie will do, you hang a pitch and it's over that middle plate, he'll drive it on you, and that pitch is up into a good hitting zone for him and throw the ball out of the ballpark.
That was a bomb right there. Second deck for Norrie.
That might be the longest home run I've ever seen him hit in his 2 years as a Brewer. And for the first time this season, the Brewers go back-to-back, and they do it from number 9 and number 1 in the batting order. And that brings Ray Searage out for a visit with Wandy Rodriguez. Jonathan Sanchez, who has been taken out of the starting rotation, beginning to get loose. That counts the 2 home run pitches from Wandy Rodriguez. Gallardo and Aoki.
First one, you see this pitch to Yo, a changeup. Up in the zone a little bit. Yo can extend his hands and drives the ball out of ballpark. A little changeup. Right here, he's trying to throw a break ball, trying to get the ball down and away. Hung it in the middle plate. Norrie opens up those hips and drives the ball out of the ballpark.
7-2 Brewers. They've out-hit the Pirates 6-3. Segura has homered tonight. He hit a 2-run bomb in the first inning to center field. A big cut and a miss. So some power tonight from unexpected sources. Segura, Aoki, Gallardo. Been so much talk about the Brewers minus their big sluggers in Corey Hart and Aramis Ramirez, but up and down the lineup, the Brewers have gotten major production during this latest run here that included a 9-game winning streak. And it's starting to feel like a team counts that has that kind of power speed combo that we saw last year. They led the league in each of those categories last season.
Well, it's a great trade. It's not easy to do, to lead the league in home runs and stolen bases. Segura with a ground ball thrown out by the second baseman. But I think it's a trade of Ron Roenicke, and it's a trade of how good the Brewers are at Miller Park. They come back here, and the runs that they're able to put up on the board here at Miller Park, the home runs seem to be a big part of the game here at Miller Park.
Well, Sanchez continues to get loose. 2 outs in the inning now with Ryan Braun coming up. Braun has 2 hits tonight against Rodriguez, and that ups his career batting average to .390. First ball swinging, booted by Alvarez. Well, the Pirates just do not look like themselves here tonight. They've been a very good defensive team this season, at least during the stretch of winning over the last 2 weeks. Pretty routine here.
Again, a routine grounder to Alvarez, and just unable to handle it. And like you said, this is a defensive team. That's one of their strengths. It's one of the things they've kind of count on. You only give the team 3 outs. 4 outs in a big league game is going to produce runs.
Well, that's going to do it for Wandy Rodriguez. His worst start of the season. Take a timeout. On an error extending this inning. The Brewers have 2 in on a couple of solo homers, Gallardo and Aoki. And look at Nori has pushed his way onto the Powerball home run leaderboard. Braun leads the club just as he did last year. He's got 7. And Ryan is currently 5th in the National League in that category. Betancourt with 4, had 2 on the road trip. And Aoki with number 3 here tonight. So Wandy Rodriguez is out, Augie, after 3 2/3 and 7 earned runs. And here's Jonathan Sanchez.
Yeah, Jonathan's making his first relief appearance of the year. He was signed in February to add to the starting rotation. Came over from Kansas City last year. He's a lefty that has a good sinking fastball, good curveball, and has come up with a split finger fastball. Jonathan Sanchez.
He has been quite the enigma throughout his big league career, Jonathan Sanchez. Taken out of the starting rotation by the Pirates. He was supposed to start on Wednesday here, but counsel, he is currently appealing a suspension. He was ejected from his last game against St. Louis, and his future with the Pirates is a little bit up in the air right now.
He hit Alan Craig in the head with a pitch and was ejected, but he's always been a guy that's with a good arm that's just really struggled throwing strikes. Threw a no-hitter a couple years ago, but the strike zone at times has really been a mystery to him. He's really struggled commanding the baseball and frankly just throwing strikes. He's led the league in walks a couple years.
Now 2 gone with Lucroy at the plate, and a bouncer foul. Now even when the game isn't on, you can still see all the plays and at-bats that matter most during our Brewers squeeze play. And what that is a 30-minute condensed version of select non-televised Brewers games. And the first one's coming up on Wednesday. Brewers and the Pirates, 7 p.m. on Fox Sports Wisconsin. That is a day game Wednesday, non-televised game. You can catch all the action when you get home from work. 2 balls and a strike on Lucroy. Goes to 3-1. I think the player that comes to mind the most, and Brewers fans will make the quick connection, but Jonathan Sanchez to me is Manny Parra. Great stuff. Never really put it together consistently. Parra's now pitching for the Reds out of the bullpen, and Sanchez here with the Pirates.
Yeah, he's a style of pitcher that, like Craig said, that he'll come out in one day and he'll just be able to spot the ball, doesn't walk anybody, commands the strike zone real well, and then the next time out.
Ball's hit pretty well to right. Garrett Jones on the warning track makes the catch for the out, but the Brewers go deep twice. Number 9 and number 1. The pitcher Gallardo, his second home run of the season, and then Nori Aoki sends one way out of here. Number 3 for Aoki, and it's 7-2 Milwaukee.
Giovanni Gallardo has helped himself with a solo home run as the Brewers have a 7-2 lead at the top of the 5th. Mark Concannon back at Miller Park, and pitching coach Rick Kranitz told me with Gallardo, it's all about timing and rhythm. And Rick says that his timing and rhythm, had some struggles regaining that after pitching in the World Baseball Classic, revving up to game speed, really, and then having to rev back down for spring training. But, guys, Rick told me that Yo is getting close to getting that consistent rhythm, and that history has shown once he gets that, he is very good.
Yeah, I agree exactly what what Rick was saying there. I tell you what, spring training when Yo got to pitch in a World Baseball Classic against the United States, he was definitely have to rev it up to a different level, and he was throwing the ball very well that night. You get almost to where you're in game form to start a season. Then to take yourself back down, it's a little bit of difference of a change. You go out there and you have to. It takes a little bit of time. It takes you out of your regular routine that you have in spring training.
Now, Gallardo has been staked to a 7-2 lead. He's been responsible for one of those runs, his second home run of the season. And I'll ask Craig to put on his front office hat for a minute here. And I know what was coming out of the front office. Doug Melvin, Gord Ash, the Brewers were very excited to have so many players in the WBC, and thinks in the long run that's going to help them. Where do you stand on the WBC, specifically for a starting pitcher, a guy like Yovani Gallardo, who is the Brewers' ace?
I still like the WBC. I like that players get to go play for their own countries. It's a great thrill. I think I had a chance to go to the Mexico-United States game that Yovani pitched. It was a tremendous atmosphere. It was like a playoff atmosphere. So I think it's a great event. I think the players that play for it, like Yovani, they enjoy it. They enjoy playing for their country. And there is some risk, but there's a risk in a spring training game to get hurt. So I hope the event continues and hope our players keep playing in it.
Bouncing ball over to third. Marte to Betancourt, and Betancourt to Maldonado for out number one. Is there, this may be too early in the game to ask this, it's been the third WBC. Is there anything to learn from a front office perspective with players as they come back, try to acclimate back to their team? For Gallardo, he essentially shut it down for a little bit and then geared it back up. And not saying that, his early season fastball velocity or lack of has anything to do with it, but is there anything to learn from it from a player perspective as they come acclimate back to their team?
I think the players it's new for the players. It's a different thing for the players too. And what I think the player gets himself in trouble, the pitcher, by over kind of extending himself early in the, in spring basically. But these players, as a player, you know yourself so well, and they know what they're capable of and what they're not capable of. And I think sometimes we don't give the player enough credit that he knows what he's doing, and he knows where he can take his body. And I think Yovani knew what he was doing. He pitched a great game that day, and he's going to be all right.
Well, Gallardo looking for his third straight win. McCutchen rips one to center field. Gomez right to the spot. McCutchen on the first pitch. And a 1-2-3 inning for Gallardo. He's retired 7 straight. Well, it's been a busy night for the Brewers offense. The Subway in-game box score. The Brewers scoring 5 runs in the first inning. Added 2 more on solo homers in the fourth. Segura, Gallardo, and Aoki with home runs in this game. Braun has a couple of hits, both to the opposite field. Hey, don't forget, Sunday, May 5th, Brewers take on the Cardinals at 1:10 p.m. and all fans in attendance will receive a Corey Hart bobblehead. Compliments of Quick Trip. Visit Brewers.com for tickets. There's Corey Hart, who is with the club the rest of the way, I'm told, Craig, as he has finished his Arizona portion of his rehab. That's got to be a little light at the end of the tunnel for him. They're hoping to get him back by the end of next month.
It's a good sign that he's back here. I think that means he's getting closer, and he'll spend some time with Dan Wright, our head trainer there, and Dan will get him back on the field.
And I would imagine a minor league rehab assignment would be in the offing for Hart, who had no spring training to speak of. Speaking of spring training. So the Brewers had to put Hart on the 60-day disabled list, which does not make him eligible until May 30th. And by all accounts, he will be back on that date. Had knee surgery in the offseason just before spring training. As Weeks strikes out Jonathan Sanchez with a punch out to start the 5th inning.
You know, right here we talk about getting ahead of hitter and changing the eye level counts. Right here you get that fastball that's just at the top of that strike zone. Craig talked about you sometimes look for a breaking ball when the ball's up like that. You get that fastball, get it right above. It looks good to you, go after it, but it's got that little extra velocity on it and swing right through it.
So Carlos Gomez now with 1 away. Gomez walked and scored in the first inning. It's been an area of major improvement for Gomez. His walks this season. A couple things really. The fact that he's been able to use right field a lot more, and the fact that he's drawing his walks, all the while maintaining that very aggressive swing.
I think Carlos just is learning his swing still, and we always encourage Carlos to swing hard because he's got that power to hit home runs, but it's a controlled aggression, and I think that's what's starting to come out of his approach as a hitter, is that controlled aggression.
And that wasn't always the case with Gomez as a speed player. As you see Johnny Naron, the hitting coach, there were a lot of years with other organizations, specifically the Mets and the Twins, that maybe tried to change him a little bit. First guy I ever heard talk about Gomez swinging hard and doing what's natural is Dale Swaim as the Brewers hitting coach.
We had several long conversations with. I had several long conversations with Dale about Carlos, because all hitting coaches scratch their heads sometimes trying to figure out the keys. But Carlos can hit home runs, and hitting home runs is not that easy, and it's a great asset that he has. So I think Dale encouraged Carlos to take advantage of his power. When you can hit home runs, it is the best play in baseball. And last year he started getting into that power and finished with 19 home runs. And instead of just slapping the ball on the ground and running, which they tend to do with speed players, we encouraged him. Dale encouraged him to use his power.
You know, Craig, you talk about the approach. You talk about approach in hitting, but with Carlos, they always talked about also understanding his swing, and you talk about him swinging hard. Do you think that has a lot to do with not only his approach, but understanding the type of swing he has and what he has to do to be successful?
I think it's a key for every hitter to understand. We call it like self-awareness. You have to understand your own swing, because it becomes easier to make adjustments when you understand your own swing. It becomes easier to get yourself out of a slump or keep that hot streak going like Carlos is in right now. So I think that's where Carlos has taken himself. He understands his swing, and so now he gets in a little good streak, and he makes that good streak longer.
Now, there was a day when Gomez was asked to bunt a lot, shorten up his swing, try to hit the ball on the ground. And I would say with this big swing that he has now, he gets more infield hits with just glancing blows off the bat than he ever would as a guy who tried to bunt for hits all the time. I mean, he's a guy who will rack up 10 to 12 infield hits a season just on the ones off the end of the bat, the ones you barely miss. Speed plays anywhere, whether you take a big swing or not. Full count to Gomez.
And then when you're a pitcher and you see a guy who's got a big swing like he does, and you see those little balls that are hit off the end of the bat, or he nubs them in there, it makes you question, say, you know, what is this guy up to? How do I have to pitch him? What do I have to change? How can I get him out? So with Carlos, it's really an advantage.
There's a good fastball hitter. Sanchez has a good fastball and zips it in, and Gomez sends one to left center field. That ball's way back, and there she goes.
There we go.
Carlos Gomez on cue. Got the fastball and did not miss. 8-2 Milwaukee, the 4th home run of the night. That is exactly what you guys are talking about with Gomez. A 2-strike home run swing.
Well, what I like about that at bat is he just battled through the at bat, and then he finally gets a pitch where he can hit and put a good swing on. Not a bad pitch down in the zone. But that's what power. He has such bat speed and such power that he takes a good pitch and still hits it out of the park.
And now Bettencourt sends one deep to left. Fair or foul? It is a foul ball off the pole. Back-to-back home runs for the 2nd time tonight. Bernie's gassed. Another slide, Bernie. As Uni B goes deep, and the Brewers have a 9-2 lead. The Brewers go the entire season without back-to-back home runs. They have done it in consecutive innings.
And right here, Sanchez tried to go up on in him. Uni looking on the inside part plate, pulled his hands in, drove the ball, hits the foul pole for a home run.
As the hitter, Uni's sitting there running down the line, just begging for that ball to stay fair.
Like Carlton Fisk. Now Uni B has had some kind of year. That is home run number 5 for Bettencourt. And now 18 runs batted in. They get 19 runs batted in. He has 2 tonight. And he's sitting there just 2 RBIs shy of the club high. Ryan Braun has 21. You know, lost a lot of bets. I just said Uni B would be the 2nd best run producer after the 1st month. He wasn't even with the Brewers this spring. 9-2. 5 home runs tonight. The previous high in a game was 3. Segura, Gallardo, Aoki, Gomez, and Bettencourt. Now Maldonado to right field. That ball's on the barrel. That ball's carrying. Jones is back. Off his glove. Into the corner. Maldonado off to the races. On his way to 3rd, and he'll make it. A triple for Martin Maldonado. A rare bird indeed for Maldonado. Triple number 1 of his career.
Every day you come to the ballpark and see something you never saw before. Today it was a Martin Maldonado triple.
I'll tell you, one thing he did is after he saw that ball go off of Garrett's glove, it looked like he turned it into a different speed. It was fun to watch. But Martin Maldonado with a big triple.
Oh, and that belly flop right there. That reminds me of a Prince Fielder belly flop.
He took it from 1st to 2nd gear. I don't think he gets above 2nd gear.
Well, the Brewers are having some fun tonight at the Pirates' expense. Maldonado, his 2nd hit. Look at Maldonado checking his pulse. That's got to feel good for him. He has 2 hits tonight. He's driven in a pair. And you got to give Ron Roenicke a lot of credit. I mean, here's a guy hitting 184 to start the day. Roenicke liked what he saw at a Maldonado swinging the bat in Los Angeles those last 2 games. He puts him in the lineup tonight, and he has responded in a big way. Now here is Gallardo. What an outburst offensively for the Brewers. A 5-run first, 2 in the 4th, 2 here in the 5th, and still at it with 1 out. Jonathan Sanchez is still sitting on a 6-game suspension that he is appealing right now. He gave up back-to-back home runs in the St. Louis game as he strikes out Gallardo. Back-to-back home runs, and then he hit Alan Craig in the helmet. He was ejected. That was on Friday, and the suspension is imminent at some length for Jonathan Sanchez. Hey, don't forget, the World Poker Tour is on Fox Sports Wisconsin, presented by ClubWPT.com. And you can check them out on Sundays. Top of the order, Aoki. Everybody in the starting lineup tonight has been on base at least once. Aoki on base twice with a walk and a homer. He scored 2 runs. At the plate, presented by Wendy's. And that leadoff walk in the first, scored on the Segura homer, and then Aoki hit one into the Lowe's level in right field in the 4th inning. Only Lucroy and Weeks, the 2 in the batting order without hits, but both of those players had walks. Brewers with 9 runs on 9 hits, 5 home runs thus far. Maldonado over at third, and the 1-2 is down in the dirt. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Now the Pirates pulling Sanchez from the starting rotation. They did announce their starting pitcher on Wednesday. It'll be Jeanmar Gomez. He'll get that day game here at Miller Park. That is a non-televised game. Broken bat, little roller out to second base. And Aoki is out by an eyelash. And the inning ends. Close play at first, but the Brewers go back-to-back again. Gomez on a 2-strike fastball sends one into the bullpen. Next man up, next pitch. Yoni Betancourt. 9-2 Brewers. Now the Brewers playing yard ball tonight. 5 home runs. Gomez and Betancourt go back-to-back in the 5th. And we go to the 6th inning now with a score 9-2 Milwaukee. Gallardo with a big lead to pitch with. Facing Garrett Jones to start it. Brian Anderson with Craig Counsell and Jerry Augustine. Our colleague Bill Schroeder, our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family. He is in Minneapolis tonight. He'll be missing tonight's game and tomorrow's game, the passing of his mother-in-law. And we want to send our condolences out to Bill and Kate Schroeder. Kate's mom, Jenny Samozik, passing away last week. The funeral tomorrow in Minneapolis. So our thanks to Craig, who are filling in for the baseball ops, and out of the bullpen, Jerry Augustine from Brewers Live. Cast of thousands here over the next 2 days. Don't forget, Craig Cashon and Davey Nelson will have Brewers Live post-game for you coming up after the game. Garrett Jones lines one to right. Aoki playing deep, able to make the catch. And the last 2 hitters with line drive outs against Gallardo. All right, Augie, walk us through pitching with a big lead like Gallardo has here in the middle of the ballgame.
Well, you know, with Yo, it's the concentration. You still got to keep that focus. He's still working on trying to find that good rhythm, especially with that breaking ball. The whole thing with Yovani Gallardo, if he can get that good comfort zone with that breaking ball, that just makes everything a lot easier. He's really commanding his fastball well tonight, but it all comes around with making good pitches with that breaking ball and changing speeds.
And the Brewers keeping the pressure on offensively, and with your ace on the mound after a 5-run first, got to give him a lot of credit adding on.
And I think the big inning for Yovani was the second. He comes out, and after the Brewers score 5, he puts up a 0 in the next inning. And that's what you do as a pitcher. When your team goes out and gets you a bunch of runs, you put up a 0 the next inning. It puts the team in a good frame of mind and gives the team confidence. And then he's just continued to get in that rhythm and put up zeros.
Well, Gallardo just misses. Gabby Sanchez at the plate. Sanchez cashed in on the error in the 3rd inning. He doubled in Garrett Jones. 2nd run, Gallardo wipes him out. So the 3rd strikeout for Yovani Gallardo as we check in with Mark.
PA time for our minor league report. Mike Fiers pitched 7 innings, giving up just 1 run on 6 hits, 3 strikeouts, but he took the loss in a 1-0 setback against Memphis yesterday. Very tidy outing. Fiers threw 84 pitches and averaged 12 per inning, 51 for strikes, guys, as he tries to pitch his way back to the big leagues.
All right, Mark, thanks. You got to give Fiers a lot of credit going down and pitching well as Alvarez into center field. That ball's hit well, but in the ballpark. And Gallardo works a 3-up, 3-down inning. That is 10 in a row retired by Yo. Brought to you by the Marshfield Clinic, and the Brewers going deep often tonight. Segura was the first to go yard, a 2-run homer, then Gallardo with a home run, and the very next hitter, Nori Aoki, back-to-back homers in the fourth, first time all year, and then the Brewers do it again in the very next inning. Gomez and Betancourt. Marshfield Clinic shining moment of the game. Well, our text question tonight, courtesy of Ho Chunk Gaming, Wisconsin, and it is for you, Craig Counsell. Do you notice the ball flying out of Miller Park more with the panels open, Sheila in Lake Geneva? And that's a good question, Sheila, because the panels are open for the first time tonight.
They are. I think the ideal for the hitters, I know Ryan Braun would say, would be the roof open and the panels closed. Would be ideal hitting conditions for the hitting conditions.
Roof open, panels closed.
Roof open, panels closed, yeah.
Well, you know this ballpark as well as anyone.
It didn't help me that much.
I was going to ask, was that a kind of day when you felt like today was the day?
I had to refer to the power hitters in that that question.
I remember your batting practice sessions at the end when everybody's going deep, and it seemed like you were always in a group with Prince Fielder and Ricky Weeks, and and they're all excited to see you hit one out.
When you'd get a start, the infielders hit together. So you'd hit with Prince and Ricky, two of the guys with the best bat speed in all of baseball, and they didn't make you feel that good about yourself.
You're a tremendous slouch. Segura, that ball's hit well to right. That ball's got a chance, and it is off the top of the wall. Segura thinking about third. He's on his way. And the throw is a bad one, and Segura with a triple. This kid is electric. Jean Segura adds a triple to his line tonight to go along with a 2-run homer. His third of the year, and there was no stopping him around second base.
Well, this is what's exciting about Jean Segura when we start seeing opposite field power, when we see him driving the ball to the opposite field. It's really exciting to see. It's why he's hitting for such a high average, and it's why I think in the future there may be some more home runs in him.
And you think about a young player. Tonight is his 11th multi-hit game already. Pretty good for a young baseball player.
And that's up there among the National League leaders in that category. He is just one off the National League lead in multi-hit games. Bryce Harper and Shin-Soo Choo of the Reds. So Ryan Braun with a runner at third and nobody out. Braun with 2 hits tonight. He's reached on an error. Well, this is one of those games that Brewers are glad to be swinging the bats as that one goes down in the corner. And it was foul. Jones gave it a look, but there's not a whole lot of room down there in the corner.
Another thing on Jean Segura that you see. He received a ball down in the corner. Not a lot of almost made a great play on that ball. Went up against the wall. That's a tough play right there.
A good try by Jones. He's had a very busy game so far tonight in right field. Well, Braun down on strikes for the first out. Sanchez has 3 strikeouts, but he's given up 2 runs on 4 hits.
I was trying to allude a little bit earlier about Jean Segura is, Craig, you got to really think about his baseball awareness. Like that time he hit that ball out, as soon as he saw that ball go off the fence and the right fielder Garrett in the air, he was going for third base. He has great baseball awareness.
He really does. For a young player, I think we've all been surprised at how, like I said before, how fast feels like a veteran player out there. He's always in the right spot. You feel like he's all over the field. He makes good decisions. He's progressed as a hitter quickly in his career, and I think it's a sign that he's just got good instincts, and he's what we call a baseball player. He's just a plain baseball player.
Well, the Angels had him as one of their top prospect second baseman coming up. They always felt like he was a Gold Glove second baseman, but they switched him to the shortstop position 2 years ago. So he's really only playing short for the 3rd season, at least beginning a full season. At shortstop, he is so fast, has such a great arm. Thought for a moment he had hit it out, and then he turned the burners on right about there. And there was no stopping him. Second triple of the day for the Brewers. Both of the speed burners with triples today, Segura and Martin Maldonado.
Now there you see the 3rd and the 4th gear. With Maldonado, we were stuck in 2nd.
The Craig Counsell who said that. For those of you tweeting those comments on the Machete Twitter page. Everybody's accountable up here, Craig. Don't be putting that on me now. Craig Counsell, Jerry Augustine joining us in the booth tonight, filling in for Rock. They'll be here tomorrow as well. Rock will return on Friday, our first telecast of the Cardinal series. I beg your pardon, Thursday. First game of the Cardinal series. That's a 4-game series. Gotta get my calendar right. 9-game homestand at all. 3 with the Pirates, 4 with the Cardinals, and then 2 with the Rangers. Slow roller. Segura back to the bag, and Sanchez makes the play for the out. 2 gone now. Runner at 3rd with nobody out, and he's still standing there for Ricky Weeks. Sanchez scares him back. Alvarez was so far off the bag, there was no chance at an out. Segura knew how far he could go. Alvarez, the 3rd baseman, covering that hole with Lucroy at the plate. So here is Weeks, and there is strike 1. Ricky tonight is 0 for 2, a couple of strikeouts. He has walked and scored, and Craig, this is a bat the Brewers are desperately trying to get going once again.
He's an important part of this lineup. He's been an important offensive piece here for many years, and we got to get him going. There's no question about it. He's gives you power at the second base position, gives you on base, and he's just in one of those stretches that hitters go through that's difficult. You try to get out of him, you do everything you can to get out of him, and sometimes you just got to keep working and keep taking it day by day and trying to have good at bats, and eventually you bust out of it.
And that's what happened last year. Renicky took a lot of criticism for sticking with Weeks as he strikes out again. He did eventually break out, but he's mired in a long one here now. 3 strikeouts tonight for the Brewers' second baseman. Brought to you by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. And by Miller Lite. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time. Beautiful Miller Park. Roof is all closed up. I want to take you back to the strikeout of Yovani Gallardo and the discussion between the cutter and the slider, Augie. What did you see there on Gabby Sanchez?
Well, the big thing, what's really important is you really have to stay on top of the ball. You hold the ball off center. If you're throwing a cutter, you hold the ball off center, and what you want to do is you want to come straight down with your hand, and that makes the ball come out and has that little, at the end, that little cut move. When you're talking about slider, you hold the ball the same way, but actually what you do when you finish it, you turn your hand, the fat part of your hand goes to the ground. That gives a little bit different spin, a little bit bigger break than you would get on your cutter. A cutter is just like a fastball, but a real little, like you say, a tailing fastball goes away, it'll go a different direction, a little bit of cut, where a slider is a big type breaking ball compared to a cutter.
Brandon Inge flies out. We've heard so much talk about the cut fastball. I know Rick Kranitz is a big believer in it. There are organizations, though, Counts, like the Atlanta Braves that do not believe in the cut fastball, and there's a cutter that gets an out on Brandon Inge.
There's some pitching theories that think the cutter will reduce fastball velocity eventually. So for young pitchers, it can be a little bit of a dangerous pitch. But at the big league level, when guys are looking for weapons to get major league hitters out, it's a good pitch. It's a tough pitch. You know, a lot of Mariano Rivera is the guy who's made the cutter famous. He's pitched with that pitch and only that pitch, and he does a great job of it. Just moves enough to get off the hitter's barrel. It's just got a little bit of horizontal movement at close to the same speed as your fastball, and it just gets off the hitter's sweet spot, and that's what makes it such an effective pitch.
And Gallardo with a strikeout. So he retires Inge on the fly ball to right, gets Barmes on the K. How difficult is it to throw the cutter and the curveball, which is Gallardo's signature pitch? Do those two work hand in hand?
Well, a curveball is the technique in throwing it is totally different. The curveball, you grip it a little bit tighter, the ball a little bit tighter, and it's more of a turning your hand and going north south with your hand with the big part of your hand. When you get to a cutter, it's just more or less like Craig was saying. It's like it's a fastball that you just pull off center. And the big important part of throwing a good cut fastball is you really got to get on top of the ball. We talk about downward plane on the ball. Well, that you take the downward plane, you add the little cut on the ball, that makes a big difference. So when you take the ball and you hold a curveball, you're gripping it like this, and then you're throwing the thing down, throwing your hand down and getting the spin to come out like this. But when you're going to your cutter's off speed, and all you're doing is throwing it just like your fastball down, and the cut comes out of your hand, and you get that late movement right at the end, like Craig says, it takes you off that barrel of bat. Great pitch.
And when you're pitching, Augie, and you had a terrific major league career, 70s, 80s. Did you hear the phrase cut fastball? Was that even part of baseball vernacular back then?
Not at that time so much. You know, we talked about the four-seam fastball and holding it off, but we talked more slider. It's more about getting that slider grip, and the curveball was a great pitch at that time, but the slider actually became the pitch when I was playing. I used it quite a bit. In fact, I would actually throw an off-speed slider where you back off and you turn your hand a little bit. But the slider, which you just hold off center, and just the fat part comes down to the ground, it breaks a little bit bigger. That cutter is smaller, like Craig said, takes you off the barrel of the bat.
They didn't throw a cutter back in the old days.
Back in the day. They did other things with the baseball back in the day.
As long as we didn't cheat.
To make them do funny things. That's what I heard anyway. I'm just guessing. Just thinking. Well, 3-2 the count on Jonathan Sanchez. Clint Hurdle will allow the pitcher to hit, and Gallardo punches his ticket. So Yovani Gallardo with a couple of strikeouts in the 7th inning. 13 in a row retired by Gallardo. 9-2 Brewers.
out your tickets, look to the scoreboard and see if you want baseball memorabilia. Find your prize at field level.
Back here at Miller Park, the Brewers lead the Pirates 9-2. Plenty for Brewers fans to cheer about with 5 home runs and Yovani Gallardo sitting down 13 in a row. And we're almost a month into the season, so we're doing some early season evaluations across the league on our AT&T Twitter poll, asking Brewers fans which team has been the biggest surprise in April. A whopping 61% went with the Kansas City Royals, currently 13-9 and first in AL Central. Pittsburgh, Arizona, and Atlanta all receiving 13% of the vote. And Brian, for the Brewers, I think probably the surprise is that they may come out of the month of April with a winning record after starting 2-8.
Yeah, that is very impressive. And I think the best part of this story we're talking about, Sophia has the 4 teams up there. The Brewers aren't one of them because winning is expected around here now. And that's probably the best news you can have if you have turned into a fan of the Brewers again after a few years off. Brewers have gone to the playoffs a couple of times recently. 2011 winning the division, 2008 as the wild card, and the expectations are high now in Milwaukee. So there aren't really those surprise starts, but a 2-8 start, to be able to get it back so quickly after a 9-game winning streak and to have a chance to finish up the month of April with a winning record says a lot about the players that are here, the pieces that Ron Renicky and his coaches have put in place, and it gives you a lot of hope for the return of Aramis Ramirez and Corey Hart, the big bangers in that lineup, as Gomez sends one to left field. Marte, and it's off the top of the wall, and Gomez can run for a while. On his way to third, Marte gets it in, and another triple, the third of the night for the Brewers, as Gomez just narrowly misses his second home run of the ball game. 2 more hits tonight for Gomez.
Well, watch how he just pulls his hands in here and keeps this ball fair. Excellent job. That's a tough pitch. That's a good pitch, and he pulls his hands in, keeps the ball fair, and then watching Carlos Gomez run the bases, that's fun.
Does Carlos have a gear?
First to fifth. Boy, he
gets there fast
on his horse, and because he, even when he hits home runs, he sprints around the bases. He has the fastest home run trot that I have seen in the big leagues. Maybe Adam Rosales is the other guy that comes to mind, but he's always busting it out of the box, and you don't see many triples go to left field, but Gomez is one of those guys who has that ability. He's running. Nothing prettier than Carlos Gomez full throttle. 11.5 seconds to go from home plate to third base. Betancourt, little fly ball will fall. A base hit, and the Brewers tack another one on as Uni B with his 3rd RBI of the night gives him 20 for the season. And it's 10-2 Milwaukee.
He's turned into an RBI machine for us.
Yuniesky Betancourt is now in the top 5 in the National League in RBIs. With his 3rd of the night on a single to center field. 2 hits tonight for Uni B. And now Maldonado to left. Marte is over to make the play. Maldonado hit it hard. The first out of the inning. Well, this is something tonight.
A good night to be the hitting coach.
That's right. Johnny Darren, after enduring every bit of Clayton Kershaw's A game yesterday, agonizing through 8 shutout innings and 12 strikeouts. And the Brewers shut out in Los Angeles yesterday, the 3rd shutout of the season. Been a lot of fun tonight. Logan Schaefer's going to hit. Coming off the bench for Gallardo. Well, the Brewers gave Gallardo some runs, and he put the Pirates on lockdown. Gallardo finishes this game. 13 consecutive batters retired. After that double in the RBI in the 3rd inning by Sanchez, which was an unearned run. Gallardo goes 7. 2 runs, 1 earned tonight. Schaefer, a bouncer to second. Inge goes to first for 1. And now Betancourt a run down. And Sanchez runs him down to end the inning. So a double play for the Pirates, but not before the Brewers tack one on. 10-2 Milwaukee. Strong here tonight. 7 in the books, and the Brewers have a 10-2 lead. Our Toyota game summary. Gallardo goes 7 innings with 5 punch-outs. The Brewers have hit 5 home runs in this game and 3 triples, racking up the total bases. And Augie, here is a look at tonight's Jimmy John's freaky fast delivery of the game. We'll call it deliveries of the game with the 5 strikeouts.
Well, I'll tell you what, you got to like what happened to Yovani Gallardo. We talked about him and finding that good rhythm, that good timing mechanism. It seemed as the game went on, like Craig said, in that second inning, he came out, just started to find himself. Today, looked like he had the good fastballs, locating it really well, used the curveball. Later on the game, got it a little bit better. But I'll tell you what, the big pitch for him tonight was that cut fastball. It seemed like he had that good cut fastball tonight. A big pitch for him.
And counts, it'll be Alfredo Figueroa now, and perhaps a chance to go the rest of the way here and make it a 2-pitcher night for the Brewers pitching staff.
This is what we talked about a little earlier. We get a good performance from a starting pitcher, a little offense, and it sets up the bullpen for a role that this is kind of what Figueroa has done for us. He's kind of finished games. He can go multiple innings. Hopefully we can get him through 2 innings. But he's done a good job in this role, and I think the bullpen has been better when they've been put into these roles now. They kind of know their role. They know when they're going to pitch, and I think it's made them more effective.
Well, Figueroa had a 2-inning outing his last time out at San Diego. Finished the game for the Brewers that night, and in a 10-2 ball game, that would be something they're looking for as Segura makes the play. Marte is out, and Figueroa has retired his first hitter. Well, the Pirates, not much going on offensively. They have not had a base runner on since the 3rd inning. That Gabby Sanchez double. Pirates, a red hot ball club coming in here, having won a series over the St. Louis Cardinals and sitting at the top of the division with a 15-10 record. Pittsburgh had won 5 of their last 6 games prior to this series starting.
And you know, Craig brought up a great point with Figueroa here, getting him into these type situations, knowing your routines and when you're going to come in the ball game and all that. These are good times for pitchers to come in. You get a young man like he's been throwing the ball so well in spring. You get him in these situations. Then when you get in a time of a game where you really need him, he's had that experience. He's been in the games. He's been able to finish games and complete innings. This is a big advantage and a big help to a young pitcher.
Now, it's been a while since Figueroa was on the mound. You're always worried about a guy and his sharpness when it's been a little bit of a layoff, but you know that's his role, Craig, and he is glad to be in the big leagues pitching in this role, and one game leads to the next, and he is serving a big purpose here tonight if he can pitch 2 innings and finish this game off.
It's difficult. It's difficult taking the mound once a week like he's been asked to do, but he knows that's his job, and you accept that as your job, and you go out and do it the best you can.
I pitched last Monday in San Diego. A swing and a miss. Martin strikes out. 2 up, 2 down for Alfredo Figueroa. Don't forget, whenever you strike out, just think about the Head and Shoulders promotion, the hashtag whiff. See a whiff, tweet a whiff at Brewers. And got some money at stake. Local donations to RBI leagues, courtesy of Head and Shoulders. Figueroa spent the last couple of seasons in Japan. Was a non-roster invitee to Brewers camp, and he lit up the radar gun as McCutchen singles to left. His first hit of the night. McCutchen has been in a long slump. He is now 2 for his last 29 at the plate. Brewers would love to get him out of town before he gets hot at the plate. Hey, a reminder that this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Brewers. May not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent of the Brewers. Garrett Jones with 2 gone. He's not a big guy, Figueroa, but he has a big arm. And he was saying that his couple of years in Japan really taught him something. He went from a thrower to a pitcher with 2 years in Japan. Had to, just to survive the kind of hitting in Japan, the style of hitting, I guess.
He does a good job for a pitcher with that velocity of keeping the ball down in the strike zone. And when he keeps the ball 95, 96 miles an hour down in the strike zone, you're going to get ground balls like you saw on the first 2 hitters. And I think he said Japan is what pitching in Japan helped him learn how to pitch more consistently with the ball down.
Well, you think about the way Nori Aoki approaches hitting. Get a chance to see him every day. He'll foul off a lot of pitches. He'll foul off a lot of fastballs. And Figueroa went to Japan as a very hard thrower who didn't have much success in the big leagues with the Tigers. And in a couple of seasons, he got a brief chance with Detroit. Jones is going to send that one out of here. No doubt about this one. Garrett Jones on a 2-1 pitch launches one out for his 3rd home run. And it is now 10-4 Milwaukee. This guy has as much power as anyone in the game, Garrett Jones, when he gets him.
You know, Craig just talked about getting that ball down in the zone and how it's electric. Right there, he got the ball down in the zone, but in the inner part of the plate. And when you got a left-hand hitter, where their zone is, where they like to drive the ball, is that down and in. Good pitch, just down in the wrong zone right there.
2 gone for Gabby Sanchez, and a breaking ball in there for a strike. Sanchez drove in a run in the 3rd inning. That was an unearned run on Gallardo's line. Now with the 7 innings tonight for Gallardo, his ERA drops to 4.25. 7 innings, 1 earned run. And he's in line for his 3rd consecutive win for the Brewers. Figueroa wants the fastball. And a 1-2 pitch is hit high in the air. Center field, Gomez with room, and he's got it on a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. An angry fastball from Figueroa to end the inning.
Scoreboard goggles, and he's got the score right tonight. 10-4 Brewers as we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. Craig Bichon, Davey Nelson getting set for Brewers Live postgame. On our pregame show, Davey, we talked about the mystique that the Brewers had over the Pirates just here at Miller Park, 44-7 since the 07 season. Where's that mystique as far as the Pirates go, do you think?
Well, they're still scratching their heads right now saying, boy, we have a good ball club, and this team came in here, you know, thinking they were going to win some ball games, and that still may happen. But the thing about it is the mystique is still there. The Brewers are taking care of that right now.
All right, we'll cover it all in Brewers Live postgame after the game. Our Miller Lite What's on Tap. Tomorrow's starting pitchers, James McDonald, Marco Estrada, will get set in Game 2 of this series. And let's send it back to our busy booth. Guys doing a great job tonight.
All right, thanks a lot, Craig. We got Craig Counsell here. Jerry Augustine takes 2 to replace Bill Schroeder, literally and figuratively, as Vin Mazzaro is on the mound for Pittsburgh. The guys are talking about the Brewers' dominance over the Pirates. It is a hard thing to understand, hard thing to put your finger on when you consider the Pirates have been a pretty good team the last couple of years. But a win tonight would make the Brewers 45-7 against the Pirates in the last 7 years. So going back to the 07 season, 45-7 with a win tonight as Aoki strikes out. And that's a hard thing to figure in the game of Major League Baseball. You don't see lopsided records like that.
It's really hard to, in the world of baseball where, you know, winning 2 out of 3 is an accomplishment, 45-7 is so out of this world, it's hard to know what to think of it.
Well, you certainly won't get any quotes about it from either side. It's not a topic of discussion anybody wants to talk about except us here in the booth. And the Brewers, with a win tonight, will have won 8 consecutive games against Pittsburgh going back to last season. First matchup of the year here tonight. Gene Segura down in the count 0-2. He's had a nice night. Segura with a 2-run homer to get this ball game started in the first inning. He hit one over the center field fence. It was a no-doubter off the black batter's eye. And then had a triple when he banged one off the right field fence tonight.
Another night of very good at bats for Gene, and had a line out mixed in there, so 3 real hard contacts again tonight.
And a base hit to right. Man, oh man. Jean Segura with his 3rd hit of the night. He's already posted 2 3-hit games. This is number 3 of the season. Well, it's Miller time in the Miller Lite Beer Pen every Friday night at Miller Park. Fans 21 and older can get a Lowe's bleacher ticket and a free T-shirt for just $23. Visit brewers.com/beerpen for details. Taya Segura, a batting average of .364 now. That's going to be good enough for 2nd in the National League as we show up tomorrow. He's already at the top of the league in triples. He's leading the league in stolen bases. Not a rookie. Played in too many games, too many at-bats last year to qualify as a rookie this season, but for all intents and purposes, his first full season in the major leagues. And the Brewers are hoping they found their shortstop for a long, long time here in Segura. Braun fouls one away to right. A nice catch down there by the ball girl. That's how you do it. Sporting the Rawlings. Bang. That might have hurt a little. That's the way to do it. Two balls, 2 strikes on Braun. Braun with those 2 hits tonight, both coming to right field. He doubled to right in the 1st inning, and then he had a single in the 2nd.
And all night the Brewers have done a great job using the opposite field. Segura's 3 hits are to the opposite field. Maldonado's triple is to the opposite field.
Down goes Braun. 2nd time he has struck out tonight. Now I've got 8 of the 13 hits, either the center field or the opposite field for the Brewers tonight. That'll make a hitting coach very happy. There's Lucroy now. 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. Lucroy tonight, he is 0 for 3. He and Weeks are the only 2 in the original starting lineup without a hit. But Lucroy and Weeks both drawing walks in that 1st inning. It was an ugly start for the Pirates. Wandy Rodriguez walked 4 batters in the 1st inning. Even with that, Pittsburgh still had a chance to get out of the 1st with only 2 runs. A misplayed ground ball that should have been an ending double play ended up as just an out at 1st. No error on the play charged to Barmes because he did get the out, but that allowed a run to score, and then it extended the inning. Martin Maldonado had a big 2-out 2-strike 2 RBI single, and when it was all said and done, the Brewers with 5 runs in the 1st set the tone for the rest of the night. Who knows where the game goes if that sequence of events doesn't occur in the 1st inning.
Those are big plays. Those are the plays you look back on, and the manager will look back on that play after the game and say, we make that play, it's a 2-1 game. It's a totally different game. We still have Wandy Rodriguez on the mound. He's in a different frame of mind, knowing he's not done 4 runs. Giovanni's in a different frame of mind, knowing he's got to pitch with a one-run lead. And that's why every out, every play becomes, you can always look back to a play, really every play, and it's an important part of the game no matter what inning it occurs in.
And Maldonado's hit with 2 strikes, that was still, and I'm sure that's going to come up in Clint Hurdle's post-game press conference, the decision to challenge the 8-hitter, essentially pitch to the number 8 hitter. You've already given up 3 runs. You have the pitcher on deck, but that pitcher is Yovani Gallardo, who can hit, as we've seen tonight. He has a home run tonight, and you could tell, Jerry, there was some discussion there. Russell Martin went to the mound. They chose to pitch to Maldonado, and he made him pay for it. And instead of a 3-run inning, it ended up being a 5-run inning. And the Brewers were off and running. And give them credit for keeping the attack on, adding runs in the 4th with back-to-back home runs, and adding 2 more in the 5th on back-to-back home runs.
Yeah, as a pitcher, you know, you also look at the way Craig looked at it, what a big play that was. But as a pitcher, you look at the pitches you made, and you go back for Wani. Sure, he struggled in that first inning, but, you know, here he's got the pitcher coming up next, and Russell Martin had gone up and talked to him. If he locates that breaking ball, that could change everything. So as a pitcher, too, you always have a chance to reflect on the ball, and sometimes it's just 1 or 2 pitches that can make a big difference.
Two and 2 to Lucroy. Seen a lot of pitches tonight, has Lucroy. Off the end of the bat, and Barmas to first to end the inning. Last call for the Pirates. We head to the 9th. The Brewers 10, Pittsburgh 4. Ten to 4. Got a switch of positions here. Maldonado goes from first to behind the plate. Lucroy gets a major league inning at first base as we head to the 9th, and the Brewers up by 6. Right now on FoxSportsWisconsin.com, you can check the Bucs season wrap-up. There's also an NFL draft review, and the Packers counting on Derek Sherrod. So Brandon Kinsler is on to pitch. Brian Anderson with Craig Counsell and Jerry Augustine here. Don't forget Brewers Live with Craig and Davey coming up just as soon as we're done. These 2 guys in the booth filling in for Bill Schroeder. You guys have done a nice job tonight. It's been a very educational night with you 2.
And you're the teacher.
I'm just listening.
Our leader.
You guys are teaching away. It's like a full 9-inning instructional tonight. Can't wait to get Counsell down on the field for the instructional. Not tonight. We don't want to just put you into that mode just yet.
We should talk about it'd be the home run instructional tonight.
That was a very nice in-game home run instructional. If you weren't with us, Craig Counsell's breaking down the Gomez scenario about how he's a free swinger now, and he took all the credit, saying Dale Swaim had really, even though Dale took the credit, it was actually Counsell who brought that up, and right on cue, Gomez hit a home run. No, it was very, very well timed. And Gomez, one of the 5 home runs for the Brewers tonight. Lucroy getting some time at first base, and that gets us to thinking up here. I know Lucroy's been taking ground balls as Kinsler and Lucroy's first career assist at first base. He's never been in a game at first base in the big leagues. Excuse me, a putout, not an assist, but Lucroy playing first base certainly gives Roenicke some options if he can handle himself over there.
It's just a way to increase the flexibility of the roster, and we've seen already with injuries, with in-game injuries, the more flexibility, especially a National League roster can have, the more options Ron Roenicke will have in case something happens. And I think this is a situation where they got a 6-run lead. I feel like it's a spot where you can break Jonathan in at first base and not a high pressure situation, because he's going to have those butterflies like we talked, like I got broadcasting tonight. He's going to have those butterflies playing at first base. So this is a good spot to get him in there.
Like you, he's hiding it very well. And there's been some talk about Lucroy. We had this discussion the other day as Kinsler strikes out Inge for the second out. But, you know, a guy who swings the bat like Lucroy, Augie, you'd love an option to keep his bat in the lineup when he's not catching. Maldonado is a superb defensive catcher. So if you can get Lucroy to buy in a little bit, that could be an option for him, much like we've seen with Buster Posey and Joe Mauer in recent years.
Well, like Craig said, it's all about that versatility.
Well, Barnes flies out, and that's the ball game. The Brewers do something tonight that has not been done in a major league game since 1958. 5 home runs, 3 triples. That was the Giants against the Dodgers in 1958 with Willie Mays and company, and the Brewers turned that trick tonight. Great job, guys. Craig and Augie, been a pleasure to work with you. We'll see you tomorrow. As we kick it out to Craig Kashawn, who's standing by for Brewers Live. Craig, what do you have coming up?
Well, Brian, I'll tell you what, we're going to talk about that historic number that you just mentioned, and we'll get player reaction on it as well. We got a lot to choose from here tonight, and a big 10-4 win. The Brewers top the Pirates with a great way to start the homestand. Brewers Live is on the way next on Fox Sports Wisconsin.